So, welcome back to SEND Talk Thursdays. Thanks for tuning in last week where we touched on autism. This week we'll be talking about dyslexia and dyspraxia, the differences, and also going through some definitions and just sort of giving examples of how this affects people in their daily life from sort of when they're in school up until adulthood.
Okay, so dyspraxia. Dyspraxia is actually a neurological disorder. It impacts the individual's ability to plan and process motor tasks. So you'd be looking for things such as poor hand-eye coordination, trouble learning new skills, fatigue, so kind of that feeling of like severe tiredness, messy when they're eating and drinking, and short attention span for certain tasks. So dyslexia, it's a learning disorder that affects both children and adults. People with dyslexia have a difficulty breaking down the words into simple sounds, so they'll struggle to learn new words, and then that leads on to slow reading and comprehension as well. So certain things with dyslexia would be, again, slow reading, slow learning to read, messy handwriting, also confusing certain words that might sound similar, getting them muddled up. They might also have an aversion to wanting to read out loud with the fear that they're not going to be able to pronounce the words correctly. So these are just the kind of the two basic explanations of what the two are and what the differences are.
My experience of placing staff with pupils with dyslexia, I've quite found that the English graduates get on really well, because they're fresh out of education, they've got all the knowledge and they just want to use it. And with dyspraxia, I found that sort of more hands-on, either PE graduates or quite bubbly people that are quite good at the sports side, they seem to get on really well. So we find this very, very important, especially in the critical years when they really, really need that extra support. And another major thing that we found, intervention groups and booster sessions, these are extremely important for pupils with dyslexia and dyspraxia, because they get a lot of frustration in the classroom on a day-to-day basis. So even just with a TA with them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they won't still have these frustrations, but when they're amongst their peers who also are having the same issues, they sort of react quite well. That's what we found really.
So just there, touching again on what Blake just said, so types of candidates are absolutely graduates, kind of fresh out of uni, certainly with dyslexia as well, the English language, things like that, or people that are just really good kind of with reading, writing and so on that can assist there. And again, as Blake mentioned, people with a PE background do tend to have quite good success of working with people with dyspraxia, certainly like hand-eye coordination and things like that. So we've found that in the past has worked incredibly well. Okay, so to summarise that, if you have dyslexia or dyspraxia, it's good to know you are certainly not alone. And with a quick diagnosis and the right support, you can still have an unbelievably successful career, academic life as well.
Yeah, that's perfect, Charlie. And just to touch on that as well, you're definitely not alone, because up to 10% of the population, which is quite a bit when you actually look on the face of it, have dyslexia or dyspraxia. So yeah, don't be afraid to reach out and say you are having issues, and tune in next week as well. And yeah, we'll see you then.